Here's the thing. You're a classic. And no matter how hard they try to imitate you, to slander you, to hate on you, to watch you from a million different fake profiles, they will never be you, because a new book can never be a classic. A classic usually has a Pulitzer. It's very hard to get a Pulitzer. I can tell you that as a writer. It's very hard. Let me say it again. It's very hard to get a Pulitzer. So many very talented writers don't house this beautiful, coveted award. But some of the most finest books that you will ever read, that will be taught in universities for the rest of time, are things like Franz Kafka, things like William Shakespeare, things like Plato. All of these things are classic. Catcher in the Rye. There will never be another Catcher in the Rye. There will never be another Metamorphosis. There will never be another Vladimir Nabokov. There will never be another. And I kept hearing the Lord say today, and I'm all about literacy. I want you guys to get into classics, and I want you to see just how much faith you can pull out and how much God you can find in between these beautiful stories that God has woven in the minds of people who are no longer with us. And I have been doing what's called Blind Date with a Book. It's coming off my own bookshelves. I've read all the classics. I want you guys to read them. And I pulled this out tonight, and I just kept hearing God say, you're a classic. And it don't matter what they do, they will never overcome the classic. You can have a bestseller. You can sit on that shelf for a year or two. But do you know what will always be in Books A Million? Do you know what will always be displayed in Barnes & Noble? Do you know that will always excite literary minds that are great in universities like Cambridge? Do you know what that will be? Things like Franz Kafka, Vladimir Nabokov, Truman Capote. There will never be anybody else like these people, because they are true classics. Maya Angelou, I could keep going, Charles Dickens. You are a classic, and Jezebel and Ahab may want what you have. They may try to write a whole new story, but they will never be you. And if you remember the story of Jezebel and Ahab, you know how it ended for both of them, and it wasn't good. I hate to give a wrath word on Christmas Eve, but you are a classic. And God has a way of doing away with books that can't compete. And I don't mean that in an ugly way. I mean it in their deceptive way. I mean it in their manipulative way. But you don't got to worry about it anymore. The Lord's already handled it. I don't even fight my own battles anymore. I just sit back and watch the Lord do what he does, because he does it so well. I'm so glad that God got me up at 7:30. I'm so glad that I got to see this morning. I'm so glad that God is so faithful to speak. Whoever this is for, honey, you are a classic. And there is no Jezebel, bestseller, or Ahab wannabe that'll ever be an Elijah classic. You keep being Elijah, because one day you're going to know they've been scared of you the whole time. One day you're going to know that they wanted to think that you were dead because it made them feel safe, because your authority threatened their fake authority. Your authority and your spirit made their demons tremble. They can't stand to be near you. They don't know how to approach you, because you've become unapproachable, and not in an egotistical way. You just carry so much Holy Spirit that they don't know what to do with you. They can't put you in a category. But that's okay, because you know where you belong. God does, and so do I. You're on the classic style. You're never going to go out of style. And God has so many plans for your life that there is going to be a legacy that comes off of your life. Bestsellers come and go. Classics, honey, they're forever. Classics are a legacy. And the one book that won't be in my blind date with a book in our link is Franz Kafka, because I want my children to know how he wrote so uniquely. And I never want them to miss out on the classics and just how much beauty there is in between the lines. You don't always have to go to the new to find the good. Sometimes the best is what's already in your hand. Don't forget that.